Ladies and gentlemen, oi! Shop. We have a panel, science versus belief. I believe we have guests of honour here. I believe we have Rose Lyrith. And by her side, I have empirical evidence that Mark Sinclair is here. Right, so I want a fair fight.
No holds barred.
So that's listening. I'm moderated, of course.
No counting.
This is a panel about science versus, instead of, compared to belief. Belief is a tricky word. Belief is often misused. People believe in the law of gravity. And you don't need to believe in it, it's just there. Whereas belief in something numinous, such as astrology or religion, is less quantifiable. But there are certain aspects of physics which get to the spooky level of what the hell's going on. So, if we turn to our astrologer, introduce yourself and talk a little bit about astrology.
Am I right sitting down?
Yeah.
Stand up.
Yeah.
Wow. I'm going to start by saying my brain is a little bit fried.
Maybe not a lot at all.
Yeah.
It's not unusual.
Perfectly.
I'm doing. I've done about 7 charts, I think, already today, and I'm very rushed and quickly, and it's very intense. So it kind of it does kind of fry your brain after you've done about 7. So when I was looking for the last one with Kevin, I thought, I'll try and say this properly that makes any sense. It's quite technical. I got qualified last May. Studied for about 4 years. I've always believed. I've grown up with a spiritual background. With parents that my mother particularly was into spiritual things. We belonged to something called the White Eagle Lodge in Hampshire. And I think I've always had a sixth sense that from seeing a ghost when I was a child, that there is more to life than what we see. And as I've got older, I've got more in tune with, I suppose, my own intuition, and sort of I've come to trust my own gut feelings rather than what the world tells me, because I think that we're all conditioned by the world to be, to believe in certain things and be a certain way. And I'm getting to a point now where there's so much bullshit, I'm sick of it, and I just want to find my own way through all the bullshit we've been fed. So now I really enjoy astrology because I don't know exactly how, this is what this is going to help us with, I suppose, how the correlation between planets and the minute that we're born, how that actually makes an imprint of our personality then. But it does seem to, from doing people's charts, there seems to be a correlation between where the planets were and our personalities and the things we're going through in this life. It just seems to all click into place. Each time I do a chart, someone will say, yes, I am going through this and this has been going on. That was me as a child. And I believe in energy. I think that everything is made up of energy. So that why not us be connected to the planets and everything else? If everything is made up of tiny, weeny atoms that are all vibrating, then why wouldn't we all be interconnected? So that's roughly where I'm coming from in a nutshell.
Yeah, top that.
I go for the digging in
Well, from my point of view, I come from a science background. I did my career in Manchester, did a master's at St Andrews, and I've been working in a science-related role for most of my working career. So it's quite interesting to see how you can apply. When it's practical, you get very used to it. building things, making things work. How you apply science, but also how you apply engineering, and also how, even in those cases, you'll find that you always assume that, because science always says, I got my equations right, you know it all works, but the world has moved on to say that you can't measure everything right, you can't get it all correct, so you can only make guesses at where it's going to go sometimes. So you have that balance. It's not as quite, everyone assumes science is going to give you the absolute answer. The important thing with science, I've always known, is there is no real right answer. There is just today's answer, because there may be a different answer next week. Now, sometimes it evolves. Sometimes the answer stays the same. People go back and challenge it. So for example, Einstein's theory of relativity is constantly being challenged and keeps on surviving the challenge. And everyone says, "Oh, it's still right." I know I've actually worked with a colleague who doesn't actually like it, and we challenge it a little bit. He finds it untrustworthy, but you have to say, well, based on his evidence. So it's always quite an interesting area in science. So sometimes everyone says it's all set, done and dusted. Some of it, you probably can't say much more because you've done as much as you can. Other bits, you find that you constantly look at it and think, there's some new information here. So it's not impossible, for the fact that there are other things more. There's always going to be more to be looked into as you get more detail. So it's not impossible.
Put my 2 cents in. I'm an ex-engineer myself. Not involved with this. No, I have worked through astrology myself in my callow youth many years ago. But I believe there's this spectrum of, if you like, reliability. Some things are very reliable. Mathematics, for example, is the purest, the cream of the sciences. That is, if you like, absolute truth in a way. And it goes all the way along through chemistry, physics, very modern physics, history, sociology, and other things. You've got this spectrum of reliability, the ability to reproduce a result time after time after time. That is what makes something provable. I agree with you with a lot of bullshit that people put around. Climate change, fake news, we'll be out of Europe by October. No year is mentioned. But yes, I think yes, people are made of energy because people are made of mass, and all masses is contain energy. So, round 2.
And astrology is maths as well. There's a lot of maths you have to work. If I'd done everybody's charts this morning, I would have to sit there looking at the maths. The longitude and latitude and all these
declinations.
Yeah, so it is all a mathematical thing, which is what they telling me. I never say his name. Ptolemy and the other ones. They all did all the work for me many years ago by working it all out. There's maths in that as well.
Modern astronomy owes an awful lot to the practice of astrology. Without the practice of astrology, we wouldn't have modern astronomy. The same way as without the practice of alchemy, we wouldn't have modern chemistry.
No, I suppose the interesting one with astrology, how it's coped with. I suppose it doesn't care whether Pluto's a planet or not. So that's what a lot of people care.
Yeah.
But also, I suppose from a science point of view, we always hope that because Pluto didn't exist when Neptune or Uranus. So it's always been interesting how those have been bolted on. Because if I was thinking as a sort of scientist and saying, this is astrology, if I know this, I can then make either predictions or insights into people's makeup. And you can say, hang on, I'll be missing something. Because if these other bodies were adding something to the effect. So that from a scientist's point of view, you say, because that would be the way that's interesting. I can see that. I can see, but there's this other bigger cycle that you don't see of people meet this week, not meet, in every 30 years they get meet or something, or some other strange effect. And so that's from a science point of view, that's where you how I'd understand how astrology works.
Just playing devil's advocate completely in this conversation, isn't it the case, though, that when you make a new scientific discovery, you revise the science?
Absolutely.
The same way as when you make a new astrological discovery, you revise the astrology. So the discovery of Pluto changes both of your science, for example.
Well, I suppose the other way to look at it, some of the planets were found, you start finding them because you predicted they were there. So that was often there's a combination. You either have a discovery, like someone's realised, I feel like dots moving around the sky. On the other hand, they keep saying, well, we're sure there's another one out there. For example, astronomy is constantly hunting around. They're sure there's something else lurking outside. Planet 10, or
which is Jupiter size.
9.
Pluto's a planet.
Yeah, I know. It looks planetary.
But Planet 10 sounds so much better when you...
Or Planet X.
Planet X.
Yeah. And so often, that's often the best test. For example, when they start with a Large Hadron Collider hunting for Higgs boson, they were looking for it. They knew it existed. It came out with an answer they didn't expect. So you do have a bit of both. But there is that hunt for what you want the science to give you a hunt to move on to somewhere else, which is I think some books. I know the astrology issue to leapfrog to another thing or to push somewhere else.
Yeah, well, what's coming to my mind is that there are lots of tools that some people look for things to help them in their life, because I don't know about you, but I find this life is a challenge. And so we all find sort of help and support in different ways. And some of those are just with our friends. Some people will see a clairvoyance, and there are lots of different ways. And I find astrology is a tool to of a support system to sort of help people that just need some kind of guidance and some help. And I'm not into all the technicalities and all the the different what you've just been discussing. I think that as long as there's proof that what I've just done with a person is supporting their journey in this life, then I feel like I'm doing something that's helpful. Because to me it's really positively supporting, I suppose, and a helpful thing. So some of the technicalities, it's
would you say it's more of a psychological
probably
aid for some people?
Yeah.
Than magical one.
The spiritual side comes into it, because a lot of astrologers believe that we sat down with people in the spirit world and we decided what we needed to go through in this life for our soul lesson, for our soul evolution. So because that's the spiritual part that comes into astrology, is that it's connected with the reincarnation of past life. So it does, for me, it's very connected in that. So somebody that's quite spiritual will probably get more from coming to have a reading than from somebody that's not at all spiritual, because if you're kind of in that already set up thinking that we're here for a purpose, so that goes into that field of like whether we're here for a purpose or not, isn't it? Which is another big question.
From a curiosity point of view, if we go back to the 19th century and the Age of Empires, there was as much as you had the sort of like technology proving itself, there was a move away from that to looking back to sort of romanticism, of Arthurian romances among certain people. I'm just trying to work out, are there any scientists who were both pushing the science but also had that romantic element to them?
Not that it comes to mind.
I can only think of one. Ada Lovelace.
Sorry, Fiona, who?
Ada Lovelace,
Yeah.
the mother of computing, was very influenced by her father, Lord Byron, in terms of how she viewed the world. But she was one of the greatest mathematicians of her age and invented the modern computer. What I was going to ask is, you were talking about reincarnation. Do you look at that from the Hindu viewpoint of karma, and you pay in this life for what you've done in the past life, or do you just think it's a journey forward rather than
I think
go back to go?
I think we're always. I've experienced karma in this lifetime from something I did in my younger years, and I had that done to me. So it doesn't have to be past life stuff. I think we all go through karma, but I think more than anything, I personally feel, this is my own belief, that it's like an ongoing process of learning and growing through each lifetime, and that when I see somebody's chart and I can sort of see that there is a soul lesson there. I can see this person, a chart I've just done recently, she's got lessons in responsibility and freedom. So maybe in a past life she was held back and she couldn't express herself. She was imprisoned or something. And so in this life she's come here to learn about being free and expressing herself. Because she's still struggling with that, actually stepping up and feeling that she can live the life she wants to. So I kind of see patterns like that, and it makes me, for my own feelings again, I've had flashbacks, I've done a bit of hypnotherapy, gone back to a couple of what I feel were past lives. And there's a theme there with issues I've got within myself that I'm kind of conscious of and want to be working on. I've always been a really deep thinker. I can't help it. I want to know why I am the way I am. And for me, it makes sense that that my soul is on a journey, and that each lifetime I'm bringing more awareness into what those issues are and getting somewhere. And then God knows what happens then.
How about you, Phil? Well, are we here for a purpose?
Well, I suppose the interesting point is, they are constantly trying to work out what's the need for you. And the hardest one is, you get to science today trying to solve the doctor. I read New Science, they're just all saying, it's all an illusion. And it's a very hard thing because when you look at the brain, it's probably the most complicated thing in the universe. There's nothing more complicated than the brain, the human brain. The connections, the more they look at it, the more they go, how to interpret all this. They know something's too big, because you know that you can influence how people think. Magnetic fields in certain places, you can, sometimes I wonder, you wonder, you do the ways of sort of exploring that hypnosis or something. It allows you to sort of allow the brain to freewheel or go to a different place that is still you and still is you here and now, but it allows you to see more of those connections because they are there. Even how the brain really works is still up for debate because there's a huge project to look at the human connection, where they look at how it all fits together, and it's going to be it's going to be very hard for anyone to really know how because you're one of those fundamental things from a true sort of, especially 19th century physics point of view, everything's clockwork. That's why the whole work of upsets. How can everything be clockwork? So everything's determined. And you could work with all that. And then you look at the brain, then you realise actually most of what you're doing in the brain, for example, that point where you can't make your mind up. That's all. Why? You can't. The clockwork, you just go bang, answer. But of course, what it is there's some quantum effects, there's voting going on in the brain to work out do I do X and Y. And when it's really close, it's actually very hard. You can find get stalled and not be able to take any decisions. So there's a lot more that they're understanding now that. And some of the, a lot of the explanations you find may actually be reasons why they are closer than you think, because there are just other ways to help people understand about how their mind really works. Because you do get weird things happening. I remember a few weeks ago, I suddenly had this very bright light in my sight. I didn't know what's going on. Relaxing went away. And I realised there was probably something going on back in the brain, because that's the light. You see it back in your head, not the front. The light goes to the back of it across the interesting design, but no. So I think there is something you said that there's always going to be different ways of looking at it because there's no way of measuring the brain, which is maybe with his eyebrow, which is a brilliant way. That's scary. You get to hear what other people think, but that's where technology is slowly creeping closer and closer to try and allow that to be understood, and they have actually seen through other people's eyes, some of these as well. So it's interesting that we are getting closer, but when you get to that point of how on earth do you try to really, where does it sit? Is it here? Where does it out? You really don't know yet.
The mind, soul, the brain's mind, soul, duality. Mm-hmm. The difference between all you are is 4 pounds of flesh and fusion of electronic impulses which travel at approximately 1 a second. People work on electronics because they know really stupid facts. Speed of light is a 1 pound. Really small space. But I think we're coming to an agreement that there is, if you like, personality. Something that is not from the 19th century when Einstein started kicking that apart in the late 19th century and did for it in 1904. But the clockwork universe was degrading even then. Because as you say, you can't, if you stole, you wouldn't do it if you ran around like clockwork because it would all flow naturally. Thoughts running on a conveyor belt. But people aren't like that. People have personality. And what makes personality? Is it spirit, soul? Is it some quantum effect? Is it a random series of electrical impulses in several times a minute?
Yeah.
Come on.
What do you think?
Audience participation time.
Sorry, I'm sorry
You're banned.
One comment I would make, just from a personal perspective, is that sometimes it doesn't matter. Some people in the room know what I do. The panel won't. So, for example, amongst the things that I do, I am the creator of quite a large internet podcast, the focus of which is on folklore. Mm-hmm. So my research and my writing is about traditional beliefs and so on. And whenever I discuss particular topics with people, like hauntings, for example, and the stories attached to ghosts, people will say, "Oh yeah, like those things they do on TV when they investigate." No, not like that at all, actually. But that's the difference. The difference between a paranormal investigator, in quotes, and a folklorist is that a paranormal investigator will be searching for proof or disproof of a phenomenon using science and using the opinions of people who have faith in that thing to draw a conclusion. But for me, that doesn't matter. When I look at a lot of these topics, I don't actually care whether something exists or not, because the area of interest that I have is why people experience things that they do. And an experience of an apparition or a ghost, for example, plays on both sides. It plays on science in some cases, if there are external factors, physical factors that feed into that. It plays on psychology. It plays on potentially other factors that we don't explain and don't have that knowledge for at the moment. So sometimes it doesn't actually matter. Sometimes the interest is right in the middle.
It reminds me of a film, hopefully some of you have heard of, called The Stone Tape.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. For those who don't know this particularly wonderful film, which hopefully you will all hunt down after this talk, was scientists investigating a haunting. And what the conclusion they came to was that the actual structure recorded events, and all ghosts were playbacks of these events. But you had to have a specific trigger to hit the play button. It's a great film. ends rather badly, but
part of the point of the stone tape theory is that it's, and it is only a theory for one particular aspect of it, is that it applies to cases where, for example, there is a haunting that replays of a Roman legion walking through somewhere where they walk and you can't see their legs, because at the time that they originally walked there, the ground was lower and therefore stuff has been built on top, and it's that replaying theory. And the stone tape is used often.
yeah, they're all going to be running up and down the stairs that
Yeah.
aren't there anymore.
Yes.
There's one with a lady sat in a chair, and they don't talk or anything, they just sit there, and you can like see them, but then if you move a little bit, you only see like part of them. But yeah, I heard that from a paranormal investigator.
There's
Teaching us
a
about the
hospital.
equipment.
There's a hospital where that applies, and it's a haunting of a nurse, and you just see the nurse with waist on, and apparently the ward below, you just see the legs walking along with on nothing. So you see the half of the body on the upper floor because the floor level has been changed.
I suppose the interesting thing I know with all ghost sightings is no one ever, getting film footage never seems to work or seems to get used. So it's all, how it all appears to be in people's heads in some way, experiences. And of course that makes it very hard to reproduce.
Yeah, but what makes it interesting to me as a folklorist, because I'm interested in the psychology behind why people have experiences, and particularly, for anybody that's read, my first book was on black dog apparitions, and they've been cited for 1,000 years, and you get recurring themes which come up over years, over great periods of time, where people who have no particular knowledge of the phenomenon use the same words and phrases to record their experiences, and that puts in a whole different level of kind of, if you follow the Jungian psychology hypothesis and the collective consciousness or folk memory, that feeds.
So I know from that, one of the things that people do is like the alien abduction ones, and before that there was being nightmares and things happening at night, was probably possibly linked to the fact that your body's frozen when you're asleep.
Yes.
And so I don't know how many people have ever actually experienced it, really been
More
awake
than you
and realised to go,
yeah.
So I remember doing it once and thinking, I know what's happening. It's actually quite, for me, as a scientist, knowing the reason I can't move is because I know that when I'm asleep, I can't move. You freeze, and then I do panic, and I just wait for it to go away. But it's interesting, but different people would have different responses depending on what your initial reaction is to that. So
and it changes over time. That's the interesting point, is that you draw on the culture of your time with these things. So, yeah, sleep paralysis, that's where old hag phenomena comes from medieval times. So, for example, I gave a talk on fairies in folklore in London last week. And part of that was I gave an example of 10 different ways in which reports of fairy sightings pre-Victorian times match with reports of alien abductions in modern times. And the phenomenon that's being experienced by people is precisely the same. But they draw on the cultural norms. So they're drawing on older beliefs in fairies and those similar races, in 200-300 years ago. And since 1957, and the Kenneth Arnold sighting and so on, and they're drawing on UFO law and applying those things to the same central core experience.
This does strike me, because in life, that's one thing you need some way of understanding how the world works around you, one way or another. And how when something doesn't fit in, that's usually when life gets hard. Well, that doesn't work in the way the world should work. And if you go, I think it's back in time when they saw asteroids and things coming into the sky. How would you interpret it? Because no one told you don't even realise there's a whole pile of rocks floating around up there that we don't know about, and that they can occasionally come down because you haven't spotted, you didn't know that such things happen, and they're so infrequent. How would you interpret that apart from going, oh, that's really bad? So, like, my wife was having a look at the stories from the recent Chelyabinsk asteroid, And there were some of the descriptions of, whoa, that sounds like biblical stuff. That does, the light, the fire everywhere, and the cloud came down. And it's not surprising you go, well, that's obviously God doing that. When you see all that without having anyone saying, oh, well, that was an asteroid. So it's interesting because you need it. Everyone wants an explanation for everything. If something doesn't make sense, you'd like to have someone, even if it doesn't, even if it's a dark explanation, you say, oh, God did that, or the aliens did it, or something. At least you've got an explanation so you can move on, as opposed to going, I still don't know what happened.
Nothing has a meaning on its own. That's right. Your table doesn't have a particular meaning until you ascribe the meaning to it, that culturally it's a thing on which you put dinner or whatever. In another country it might be a different thing.
Okay, I was going to say then that, leading on to what we were saying before, is that I go to yoga. My yoga teacher's recently started doing something called a gong bath. Some of you may know what that is. She's got these gongs, and it just, the more she bangs it, the more vibration just goes out, and it's what they call sound healing. And when I was out a couple of weeks ago, I just really needed to be there. I was so tired and everything. I just went there, came home, and then I went to do a mind, body, spirit fair. And I had a lady come up to me. She said, "Did you see the ghost at the gong bath?" And I said, "What? No. And she told me what she saw and what she felt. And then half an hour later, another woman from the gong bath, and these two hadn't actually spoken that evening. She came to me and she said, "Did you see the ghost at the gong bath?" And I said, "No, oh thank God." And then when I got to yoga the following week, the yoga teacher saw the ghost as well. So that was 3 people that saw. Well, there was two women hanging around, and it was in the St Plimpton Morris Guild Hall. And apparently that building was used for. It was a courtroom in the 1600s, and they used to sentence people to death there. Outside the back door, they'd get. And it, so. But what I thought was amazing was that they all told me that, either of them, none of them knew about each other knowing about it, which is one thing. And then something someone said just now, I thought maybe it was the vibration, you sing about that film, the vibration of the gongs, it kicked something else into being.
That's been scientifically proven with regard to ghosts.
Okay.
So there was a series of work that was experiments that were done at Hampton Court by Professor Richard Wiseman and a couple of other colleagues a few years ago, which show how low frequency resonance can affect the brain into hallucinating, for want of a better term, particular things. So that's an interesting case where you're drawing on the scientific side to show something, and you're drawing on your side of belief, because if people are experiencing the same vision from that, then you've got a scientific cause, but you've got an unknown cause as to why people are seeing the same thing.
Well, again, it depends on how similar this is, because there's always a trouble when you can't photograph.
Yeah.
And you can't, and everyone's memory is always a little interesting.
Yeah.
If you've ever seen those things where they've gone about the police investigating some accident or crime, the challenge to get the right story out of everybody and ask them the right questions to make sure they don't remember it or mix it up with other things. It's quite challenging. It's amazing actually how easy memory can be affected, which is always a problem. Knowing how true the memory is, or how. But of course, when you remember something, you'll be absolutely clear about it. Yeah, of course it was like that. Absolutely. I've been in a position where I've been in conversation with people, and you come back and they hear that conversation back. Did it? What went wrong there? Because you can end up with a completely different emotion for the 2 individuals involved and come back with very different answers. So back on the personality level, one of the things I'm really interested in because I come across it from a business point of view, as opposed to is the way they try and help people understand their personality types. If you come across Myers-Briggs, Belgium.
Yeah, Myers-Briggs.
And I found those interesting, again, as one not necessarily as a way of helping you understand yourself. Like someone saying, well, the last 2 questions to see what answer you have. You want to be in one of those. Whether you agree with it is up to you. Because I think it's definitely when you look at things like that, nothing's absolute. And I know when I've done Myers-Briggs, I've fluctuated on some of the answers, so I know it's not I know it's not an absolute, it's not science, it's definitely an art. It depends if the questions are the American questions and compared to the British questions, which is interesting. Because the American questions have to go a little different to the British one, because you have to baseline it for Britain a more, we tend to be a bit more restrained by natural. I mean, I always look back when you do surveys, when they ask you, are you extremely happy with this or just a bit happy? And of course, most British people say, well, yes, all right.
Vaguely all right.
Yeah, vaguely all right. Yeah, that's fine. Oh, but if you don't get extremely, we don't get our points. Yeah, and so I've had that from with dealership in topics. I'm thinking, wow, and because from American point of view, everyone should be ecstatic about it. But you get a car, it's exactly what I expected. Yeah, it's about average.
But it's always room for improvement.
But it's always room for improvement, yeah. So but it's interesting. But I found them it's an interesting alternative.
Yeah.
I mean, they're based on observations by. So the Myers-Briggs is the sort of expert judging and various receiving something. And the Belvin one is what type of job do you like to be, like the writer or the guy who helps everyone work together. It's interesting, but they're completely sort of, I don't know whether they match up to any other looking at someone's personality another way.
It's similar. It's similar because I can see, the charts I looked at today, I can see where their career part of their, what sign they have. They have got Taurus on their midheaven, which is a career part of their chart, and I can say, you've got a very down-to-earthness about you, being a Taurian, that would be good to be so to focus your work around that Taurian energy and what Taurus needs. So in that respect, that's obviously helpful for the person I'm talking to, because they can, if they're not already doing what they want to be doing, they can think, oh right, I need to be more practical in what I'm doing with my work or whatever, for example.
Yeah.
But one thing obviously I was thinking when you were speaking then was that how the other thing with astrology is, even though I've learnt about the practical way of doing one and speaking what I've been taught, is that one thing I find, this is where the spiritualness for me comes into, is if I feel as if sometimes, this might sound a bit daft, but it's me trusting my instincts, is that sometimes I feel like a higher message comes through me. And I think that sometimes I can say something and I don't know why I'm saying it or what it means, but the other person goes, oh God, how did you know that? And it's like, I don't know, it's just come to me, and that's a part of my astrology I want to develop more, is sort of tuning into what I would call universal energy or universal consciousness, to kind of, and I think there's much more kind of power in that for me than actually looking at the concrete plan I've got in front of me, because then I think it's more meaningful. It's not about me and what I'm saying, it's about tuning in to something more. But yeah, that's just how I do my thing.
More meaningless than just basic.
Yeah, that's not practical at all, physical or anything, it's something else. But I trust in, and only a bit now, but I'd like to trust more in that, because I think that's quite powerful.
You put your hand up. I saw you.
I think you must have said whatever it was I was going to ask. Oh, infrasound, I thought.
Yes. That was the phrase I was searching.
Oh, I can tell you the fact about infrasound if you want to. Elephants communicate by rumbling in infrasounds, which humans hear start here. But the frequency they use for it, slap bang in the middle of it, is the frequency that causes human eyeballs to resonate and give you see things in the corner of your eyes that aren't there. So, you primitive cavemen in Africa might be having religious experiences because of an elephant 2 miles down the road.
I mean, it's like sleep paralysis or sleep deprivation, which I suffer from. You get to a point where you're seeing things crawling around in the corner of your eyes. You're not quite full-blown hallucinating, but you're in a sort of twilight, non-reality state, which is really creepy. I don't recommend it to anybody.
Well, I suppose that's highlighting when your body's in a funny position, like you've got illness, or you've got fever, all Or if you're on chemical. You know, my father-in-law went a bit strange when he was a couple of nights, something to do with potassium or something, he was in hospital, and I think he thought everybody was, but probably again, one of the game shows, which, and he was paranoid about it. He went through really paranoid for a while. But and that was, you know, he fully experienced it, but he knew it, but he didn't realise that he was definitely going to be strange. And you know, once it got bounced back up again, it was all normal again. So, and that is one of those ones to be aware of how you may, you know, your diet may affect your mood without you realise.
Sounds more like that.
It might be that. It might be that. I can't remember what it was. I think he was in there for a heart bypass, so it wasn't quite serious.
It's what you give to people who are bipolar.
But he was definitely
Slightly schizophrenic.
Astrologers, do you believe there actually is evil out there? Have you actually come across, when you've done a reading or you've sensed evil?
I've always struggled with that concept of evil, I must say.
Isn't there an idea of evil materialism? So do you know, something that's so utterly materialistic they haven't got any room?
No, I wouldn't say I wouldn't call that evil either. I've not come across evil in my life, so in my 50 years on this planet. But I hear enough stuff to know that there is what you could call evil out there, but I haven't come across it, if I'm honest. I mean, people can be sick. There's a sickness in humanity that I experience and see around me, and I see it in myself. I think that most human beings have a degree of sickness in them, and that's why the planet is like it is. But there are the evil people, the ones that are in complete control of us. You know, we're slaves to the system way up there, the Illuminati. You could call them evil because they're just in control of everything.
I always wonder, you know, we're very good at seeing, humans are designed to see patterns. You know, usually trying to spot the tiger. And so a lot of the, you know, some things, you're looking for patterns. You know, you can see faces in almost anything. It's well known. You put a few things together before you know what the face is, because we're doing it. But and so I often know when you worry about like there's powers trying to control us somewhere. Most of the time, I think they're just right. But we interpret that they're actually cleverer than we think. You know, sometimes people are trying to fool. You know, sometimes there are obviously shenanigans and because they get exposed. You know, like the tobacco industry trying to cover up how bad tobacco was for everybody. They're saying, and we know that the same. Some of the things have been happening with like vaccines, but definitely with things like climate change. There's a lot of misinformation going there. So it's actually quite it muddies the whole water to get anyone to be able to see what the general clear view is or opinion. So it's all sorts. It's quite interesting, you know, how you stop yourself seeing patterns, because we're very good at that. I mean, as a scientist, it's actually something you have to watch out for. Is I've got 2 points I've got line, I've got 3 points I've got acceleration. So I can start doing. I can fit them. If I've got below the points that sort of have like a slight angle, you have to remind yourself, well, what's the error? And how uncertain are you with those points? You find that actually they're all like this, you know, big, wide, barren bands. It's just a straight line. I've got no correlation at all. So but we often like to see some sort of correlation. We have the same with whenever I think it's the Daily Mail's atrocious for every time there's a new cancer, you know, something increases your chance of cancer by 200%. You realise the percentage of your chance of that means it's just been a change from 0.01% to 0.03% or something. Your chance of actually getting cancer. And that's one of the things you always have that challenge of making sure that you are working with good facts. And especially in scientists, that's one of the things that you always want. If you want to make a decision, you want to know, or an engineer, exactly the same thing. You need to have good information. And that's why we always get frustrated how long it takes. For example, when you have these accidents, you know, like cemetery going max, how long it takes for the answer to come out. Because the engineers are trying to make sure they're not jumping to a conclusion, but giving you an honest one, because you want to actually know the right thing to do to avoid that. Because it's well after the facts and everything that, you know, nobody gets excited about the answer.
As a straight materialist myself, I believe I believe that people can be evil, and I think our history as a species has adequately, more than adequately, shown us just how evil and terrible we can be to one another. Especially in the last century, and partly in this century as well. World War One through the genocide of World War Two through Somalia, through how we go on and on.
The question from your husband was rather
How do you both feel about the accuracy of the data that you're receiving? And do you each feel it affects your ability to do what you do?
It can do. So for me, when you're working on some sort of scientific project, you have to fight with people do what I said before is where when people want to draw a conclusion, there's always a problem, especially if you're dealing with some project that's on a schedule. There's a pressure to give the right answer, and so it's quite challenging as a scientist to say, no, that is not the right answer, because this is what the data says. And sometimes they want to, and you see that classic one with any government when they're dealing with data. They're atrocious because politicians just want an answer. They want a yes, no. They don't want to. Well, it's about 46% this way, 55%. They don't like that. It's hard to work with. So when you're doing something, you need to understand how accurate the data is to be when you're doing from a scientific point of view, because you're trying to get to an answer, and you need to know what variables you need to control, which ones don't matter. And that's from a science point of view, it's a very broad sort of answer, but you do find that sometimes you need to go mad. So if you're looking at, for example, when I mentioned the Large Hadron Accelerator with the Higgs boson, they got to a silly level of accuracy to prove it, because they know that a big claim requires a big answer. So that's why they talk about when you look at an error, you often measure it in sigma. So you say, well, the number is 1 and it's plus or minus. So 1 sigma is like 67, something like that. And each time you go out on this sort of tail, and it gets more and more accurate. And they want to go. Often they say, oh, we don't go about 4 or 5 or 6 sigma or something like that. It's a huge. Just to rule out that 1% or even sub 1% chance that you've got an answer. There's still a possibility they've got an answer block. Yes. So from that point of view, your accuracy, and there is also you have that understanding. You can't be totally accurate on all your measurements. So climate science is a classic one with all the problems with butterflies in the wrong place and fluttering their wings, because you have to grid the world up into boxes, and therefore you can't model it in any. Everything's an approximation. So that's why the weather forecast is usually good for a day. If you go out a week, especially in Britain, it starts getting really hazy. Whereas in other countries, when I've been in America, it's interesting that certain bits. I remember the first time I went to America, they were predicting there was going to be rain on the Saturday, a week out, and lo and behold, it turned out exactly on the day they said it was going to be. So sometimes it can be right, but it's sometimes, and that's. It's an honesty, but it's not what some people want, because people want to know the weather to 10 decimal places. So they make all their business plans. Like, if you're a farmer, knowing it's going to rain is really helpful.
Just listening to you makes me realise that we can't ever get perfect accuracy. And I think I obviously depend on the people that the astronomers, keeping track of the planets for me. And I also use data on my laptop to get the information that I need. So I have to rely on that. But going back to what I was saying before, I think for me, astrology is the tool. It's a tool, and then so I get my tool out, and then I want to rely more on my intuition with a person, and almost in a not in a counselling sense, but in a more of having empathy with that person, tuning into them as a person, and I hope to rely on that more, because I think that's what humanity needs more of. It needs more people to tune in with each other, and for us all to connect more with each other, because that's the thing that for me is missing. in the world the way it is right now. We're all watching our phones and our TVs, and we've lost that connection with each other. So, but yeah, it's a good question. I think that what you were saying made me realise that you can't be accurate with anything. And I think, and if you look at nature, it's changing all the time. The leaves are falling off the trees now, and then they're going to go quiet for a few months, and until spring comes again. And that's, if human beings, if we live like that, if we listen to our own rhythms and our own cycles, and not rely on science necessarily to have all the facts and have all the answers, and listen to our own intuitions, then we might find a bit more happiness.
As a scientist, could you explain something to me? We were in Florida, it was years ago now, and it was raining. I mean, it was bucketing down. And we were going to a show which wouldn't go ahead if it was still raining. And they said, Fantasy in the Sky will start at 8:05 when the rain stops. And we all went, yeah, right. The rain stopped dead on the dot of 8:05. Now, how did they know that? No, seriously, I'd like to know.
Well, either they were just lucky. I don't know that Florida is a bit. You've got some areas where I don't know what Florida's like. I mean, for example, if you go to like Central American rainforests, you can guarantee the rain stops on at a certain time, and it actually has very well defined times it comes on because of how the day builds up during the day and goes down. So it might be that. I wouldn't be able to say with and not being an atmospheric physicist either, which is but you'd be surprised certain areas because as Britain is variable all over the place because we're right to the sea, we've got quite complicated geography. The weather comes from all different directions, which is why we always that's why it's always a bit uncertain what we're going to get. Things like, we're going to get a hurricane, in 87. Oh no, we're not going to go. And there was one lady who said, yes, we are, and he was very wrong. So sometimes you have that, whereas in larger areas, sometimes there are more. You do get that better idea. The weather does flow into very sort of popular cells, and it just naturally works at a certain time. Now they might be lucky.
But it's possible. I've seen this in Italy. Is weather radar? You can actually just see the clouds.
Yeah.
You can go. It's going at so many.
Oh yeah, if you've got weather radar, it's easy.
What scared me was it was Disney and they frightened me anyway.
Yeah, that's because Walt's frozen head is still actually.
I mean, I was going to say years ago, leading on to me working in caring professions, I was with a special school and we exchanged for a school in London. Mm-hmm. And so there I am sort of doing the washing off and sort of things. And we were there for a week. And so it was like the weather was coming from London and it was really hot in the summer. But there was almost like a certain fixed time in the evening, about 7 to 7:20, when it would throw the rain down. First night it's just that, but then he did it repeatedly every night.
Mm-hmm. My companion had a theory about that, which was as all the offices closed, all the doors were thrown, hot, humid air rushed out, rose, and then rained on her way home every night.
Well, the thing is that places like Europe and America have climate. Britain has weather.
Well, there's so growing up in Germany, the weather report, and probably Manny can go further, the weather report was a lot more accurate than I find the weather report here. And I think it's similar to what you said. It's sort of like the continental weather. The actual continent itself stabilizes the weather and it creates certain cells, and then the convection and other atmospheric processes kick in, and that gives you a more stable environment. And I think Florida, being sort of just at the edge of the big American continent, is probably part of that still stable environment, where here, Britain is an island or multiple islands, and very, very dependent on the jet stream. Depending on where the jet stream is, if it's going further north, further south, or in the middle, the weather is more stable or less stable depending on where the jet stream comes, and that is very unpredictable. So, and there's also the difference between climate and weather. Weather is short, climate is long, and climate is made out of the weather that we have. So, yeah.
I'm afraid you've got 4 seconds to sum up.
And the last thing I can say is the rudest thing you can say to any scientist is, I question your data.
Oh yeah. Oh, they get. But you should.
Yes.
That's one thing I always say is that there's no data is perfect.
Yeah. Always double check your facts. And always make sure that any equipment you're working on is disconnected from any power source, and that you've got either the metric or imperial sets fans. Preferably both, because if you take one, it'll be the other. I know that. Thank you both very much, and our lovely audience for participating, and I hope you enjoyed this.